Hey babe, ready to join the revolution?
Welcome to Boss Less Babe More, a woman-first business movement where soulful strategy means brand clarity.
I'm Grace, alignment coach and Akashic record reader.
And I'm Reka, designer and brand strategist.
Together, we build businesses that are aligned, supported, and actually sustainable.
Fuck the rules. Let's change the world for every woman who comes after you.
Hey babes, welcome back to another week's episode, and boy do we have a lot to share with you. This officially marks our 1-year anniversary, and we are so excited if you have stayed around and listened to us talk about business, bossing, and babing over the past year. And we would like to share with you what we've learned from podcasting for 1 total year, and what we're currently recognizing and what it is that we're doing moving forward. So I would just like to start out with, oh man, I know we've talked about this before on previous episodes, but whenever I was just like, oh, we should start a podcast, and then we went down this entire rabbit hole, and I think we've had so much interesting stuff to share with you. Anything from cyclical living to branding, design, technical elements about like what tools you may need to start your business, Akashic alignment work, personal and spiritual development. I mean, we've really run the gamut. And also, we have learned so much along the way. Reka, do you have any, fun shares about our process being in the podcast journey for the past year?
Well, I don't know how fun it is, but I know it really started with just this kind of seed of like, wouldn't it be fun if we did that? And I think we are both really aware of how interestingly aligned our work is. You work with businesses, I work with businesses, and you look at their soul level alignment issues, and I look at all of their visual alignment issues, right? So there's so much in our work that overlaps that when you said that, it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And then we kept changing and pivoting and moving things around. We upgraded tech because we wanted to do video. Then we realized the video was just so much work. Like, we continuously tried to follow the path where the journey was leading us. We had months where we had content creation, 8 to 10 episodes out, and then we sat down and wanted to talk about something totally different. Or we had the Empower Her challenge that made so much sense. Like, this is what we're doing. We did all the prep work, and then for 8 weeks we pushed the quote unquote easy button. And then I think we have realized that there's a lot that we share and experience about the entrepreneurial path that is not in isolation just happening to us. Tech, ever-evolving tech, AI, the constant need to upgrade storage and space for all of your files, and just the mindset that is necessary to continue running it, I think all have been really, really interesting threads. And I have genuinely loved every single second of what we've done. Even the days when we recorded a 20-minute episode and took us 2.5 hours to record the 20-minute episode. Or even just the ones where we just sat down, chatted, and then ended it and thought, it was a really good and easy episode. Like, wow. So, and now actually the final iteration of it is us recording remotely, which really was not as complicated as I originally thought it was going to be more complicated. And after a couple of test runs, if you guys listen to the last few episodes, our sign-offs are out of sync, which is really funny to us, so we left it in there. It's really been kind of a huge journey to learn all this, and I'm a lot less afraid of audio files. I have learned how to edit a lot of video and audio stuff, which was so helpful when I created my online course. So everything that we learned was really important to learn, but I think so much of that is like, how much capacity do you have to start something new and do continuously new things? Like, that's what is kind of coming up for me. Like, what is what is the pause where I go back to something that works really well and just keep doing that? Not necessarily to not grow, but also what is the point? What is the underlying reason? So I think we started the podcast with very different intentions than we have now. And that takes awareness to be like, hey, why are we doing this? Or what is the point? Or is this working? Or why is this hard? Or why is this easy? So it's been a wonderful year. I regret nothing. This has been really cool, even with all of the ups and downs. And I genuinely think we honed in on how to make it work now. So
yeah, absolutely. I feel like having this podcast has been like a boot camp for us to hone in on the skills that we already have, and then also between the two of us just learning so much from one another about alignment, about just the technical aspects.
Yeah.
It's really been so beautiful just to be able to share all of this with everybody. And also, if you guys have been listening and like just some of the things that we've mentioned in this episode, the Empower Challenge or Boss Less Babe More nights, and also at one point we had Boss Less Babe More as a business, but then we backed away from that. I mean, we have really done a lot of shifts and changes over the past year, and we hope that in doing that and sharing our process of what we're doing, like with the ups and downs, that you realize it's also okay for you to pivot in your business, to back off whenever you need to. And we just really hope that we have been a model for you to see that it's okay that you don't know everything right now and that you're not doing everything absolutely perfect in your business right now. It's more about the process, it's more about the journey, and it's more about the growth. So super
Absolutely.
Grateful that you've been listening this whole time.
Yeah, and I think you're saying a couple of really important things in there. One being like not knowing all of the answers, but taking imperfect. You say this to me all the time. Take imperfect action anyway, right? Because we would not be at 50 episodes if we got stuck the first time something got weird or the audio was off or whatever. Like, granted, I think there were a couple of weeks we didn't post, but it's nothing. All of this learning couldn't have come from us just sitting behind wondering how this works, right? Like, we really had to put ourselves out there. And additionally, I think it's really important to know that not only you won't know all of the answers, but early on in your business, even if you have a nugget of an idea or you know where you want to take it, it's so important to know who is your audience, who are you talking to, and how does it make sense? Like, not just how it makes sense for you. Like, I think the brand rebirth idea we had is absolutely brilliant. I think people should have soul alignment work with you and absolutely understand who they are personally and then who they are in their business, and then work with me to untangle the rest of it as far as a brand goes. And this concept and idea doesn't exist anywhere else, not that I have seen or been able to see. And I stand by it, but I do think it's too early for the world to be running business on that kind of soul. I think businesses are tapping into more intuitive self-care, don't hustle all the time. I think our message is not new in terms of you should boss less and babe more in an especially increasingly fast-paced AI-driven environment. I think nothing we're saying here is stuff that you haven't heard, but I think the combo deal of what we could offer and how we would want people to start their business and build their business is just not there yet. And for that, I think there's a little bit of like mourning and a little bit of like a processing that I have to do, that this constant pivoting is also kind of heartbreaking. Like, okay, this didn't work, let's try something new. Okay, we did that didn't totally work. Okay, we're not going to do video, which of course I was happy about because I don't want to be on video, but there were a couple of things, so it's like, okay, we made this decision to continue changing. It requires so much fucking resilience. And so any of you in your first few years of business, my hat's off to you for finding the time to listen to us. You know, it's it takes a lot. It takes a lot to run it, and we've said this a million times. We'll say it again. Like, it's not for the faint of heart, but it requires so much resilience for you to get up in the morning, do it anyway, take the imperfect action. Like, I think it has taught, like, there's no way I would have finished my course, which I've been wanting to do for, I don't know, 6 years, if it wasn't for all of the times that we got back up and recorded another podcast. Like, it has taught me so much resilience over the last year. Is that course perfect? No. Do I want to redo all of the videos immediately? Of course, but sometimes it's just not in your budget to hire a videographer and an editor and a copywriter and a whatever. So you just do what you can, right? So for all of those lessons, I'm incredibly thankful for everything that we've pulled together and pulled off way more professionally than I would have expected us to. Besides a couple of first few audios. That some of that is kind of wonky.
Honestly, I never would have started a podcast without you. So I think it's also just really lovely that we got to go on this adventure together. And going forward, we've had some conversations and discussions about this. But we have decided that this will be our last episode of Boss Less Babe More. Oh my goodness.
We talked about this in the last episode about what is the 6 months trajectory, where are we going, and then some of the awareness piece of there's just always been a technical issue, like Apple Podcasts is not loading our episodes properly and the graphics are not loaded even though the graphics are there. It's just like constant fixing, right? So do you want to tell them how we kind of like came to the final realization? Because I feel like this is so much your cup of tea of how you work with clients.
Yeah, so, whenever you have issue after issue, it becomes a solidified pattern in our reality. So this is not only whenever it comes to business, this is life in general. If you are seeing the same unwanted results coming up in your reality over and over and over again, something needs to change. Like, it's just the writing is on the wall. And if you listen to one of our more recent episodes, we talk about feather tap bus, which the universe whispers at you kind of like a gentle feather and lets you know, like, hey, something needs to change. And then whenever we don't course correct, then we get a tap. We get a little bit more of a intense message saying, hey, this is out of alignment. Something needs to be shifted here. And then if we still don't listen, you end up getting hit by a karmic bus, and it's really not a good time. It was kind of interesting because whenever we hopped on, actually this morning, to be podcasting for the day, we just started having more issues pop up out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. This is really interesting that just technical issue after technical issue keeps happening. And really, these platforms are very simple in their nature. It's not like we're doing some big software underhaul. Like, it's just a few button pushes. So, like, it really shouldn't be that hard. And yet we're getting feedback from our reality saying, like, hey, this is really hard. And whenever we have things show up in our reality, it's either deselective or attractive. So let me kind of break these terms down for a minute. So whenever something is labeled as attractive, and this is something that I look at whenever I go into people's Akashic records, if they're having some kind of, they're having symptoms of a deeper issue, and there's those patterns that are reoccurring, I'll look at whether or not it's attractive or deselective. If it's attractive, it means that they are, through action, making choices that are out of alignment to who they are at soul level. Thus, it's creating negative circumstances showing up in their realities. Now, deselection, on the other hand, we are meant to be living into our divinity. That is our design, that our soul, it's like the user manual for your human, basically. And so whenever we really are living into alignment and you're seeing things that are showing up that are not working, no matter what it is that you try to do, no matter how many times you pivot, no matter how many times you fall down and get back up again and keep trying to throw spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks, if it's just not fucking working, that is a good indicator that that situation is deselective. When something is deselective, it wants to leave your reality. So if you are in a relationship with somebody and you're seeing the same problems over and over again. So if you're in a relationship and you see the same problems happening over and over and over again, perhaps they're crossing your boundaries, or it's not a two-way street and you're over-giving and under-receiving, and it's consistent, and no matter what you do to try to resolve the situation, it continues being the same. That means that that person, that relationship, doesn't actually want to be in your life because it is not aligned to who you are at soul level. So same with business. I mean, we have all had a shit client. That client wants to deselect. You don't want to have them, and they don't actually really want to be working with you either. Or maybe you have a business system that is consistently fucking up, and it's like no matter what you do, it will continuously cause you problems. Either that system needs to be eliminated and something else needs to go in its place, or the way that you are using that system needs to be shifted into alignment. But so from us, from a technical perspective, we've moved through so many different platforms. We've used so many different tools. And honestly, we've shifted into some of the most basic software that you can possibly use. And for some reason, we are still having these technical issues and obstacles that are coming up in front of us. And so it's not because the software is bad. Okay, just want to say that really loud and clear. It's not because the software doesn't work. It's because this is actually out of alignment for both of us, and podcasting, at least in this chapter of our realities, is deselecting from our realities for both of us. And so it's actually like, it's really hard because I think both of us, at least I'll speak for me, I have so much attachment to showing up every Monday and chitty-chatting with you and posting it. And like, I like the process of doing it. However, I don't like the process on the back end dealing with all of the technical issues. It really is stressful. It really is frustrating. And so, I think that it's actually going to put us into alignment to choose to do the hard thing, which is actually to stop doing the thing. Even though we enjoy it, it's not actually doing what we intended it to do, and it's causing just continuous patterned problems.
Yeah. So, as a newbie to the Akashic Records, what I will say is I fully trust when you check my record and your record that if it says it's deselecting, I'm like, well, okay. And you actually checked if there's another iteration, right? Because let's not forget, we have pivoted from being audio-visual to just being audio to be different kind of mics to now remote. Like we have shifted through so many iterations. We've done in person,
we've done virtual things. I mean, we've run the gamut.
So it's like at this point we can check in the records if there's any other variation where it makes sense, but if it's not congruent and aligned to us, then, and it's showing up in both of our records, right, then it's something that we gotta undo. And but like I said, mourning some of the like iterations of your business or the things, like this feels like that. This feels like this death that, okay, I trust that it is not aligned, because who the fuck wants to be banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out a technical issue every time? There's like, I have pride in this project, and I have like attachment to it similarly as you. Like, this is a thing that we do. I'm a person who podcasts, like the identity of it, right? Like all this ego attachment is like, this sucks. But I know that any and everything I've cut out thus far from my life based on readings with you has only put me on a trajectory that gets me closer to my most possible aligned self, or using the manuals best for my human experience. And so I trust it. I trust that this is the next step. But in that, I have like so much sadness in my heart. Like, fuck. If this, when you're like, you're ready for a tough conversation, I'm like, she's gonna say it's deselecting. Fuck. I can. I'm like, no, I don't want to. But this goes back to this point of like, what is the experience? What is the intention? What is it we're here to do as humans, right? Like, if this is something you just keep doing, like, oh my God, you could live a way more aligned, interesting, and fulfilling, have a more fulfilling experience as a human versus just, and how many of us are in that grind, right? Like, not recognizing the patterns or not being honest to ourselves, like, hey, this is actually not working. And then how many times do you try, like, okay, this next thing, I have a friend who's like, well, after this next thing, I'll have more time. I'm like, that's not how this works. I don't think she listens to the podcast, but if she did, she will know what I'm talking about her. It's like, there's no other thing that's going to fix this after this one other project you complete at work is going to be complete. It's not going to happen. This is how you operate. Like, you already have in the pipeline 50 more things that's going to fuck up the rest of your free time or whatever. So sometimes these big cuts are really scary, but still it's the most necessary thing to do to create the void and let the new thing come in. So I guess I'm here for it.
Another really important thing to note is that sometimes the things that deselect are things that you still enjoy or that you still love. Maybe it's a person. You may dearly love that person, but they don't belong in your life anymore. Deselect. And I mean, there may be something that you really enjoy doing that actually is not in alignment anymore to you. And I would agree with you, even though it's scary and like I have sadness in my heart as well. It always only gets better whenever I allow for the deselection to happen instead of grasping onto it as hard as I possibly can, because the longer that you hold on to something that you actively know is deselecting, that awareness will shoot you in the foot, man. Because as soon as you have awareness, it creates power. You have the power to choose what it is that you want through action. And then if you have the awareness that something you have the power, you then have responsibility to take action in alignment to who you are. If we were to continue doing this podcast, we would be actively doing something that we know is not in alignment to us, and then we would be acting from a place of irresponsibility, which then makes results happen like an avalanche in a bad way. So you want to talk about being hit by a bus? That's when you get hit by the bus.
Yeah.
And we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. And we are going to model for you that it is okay to let go of the things that aren't working. I know that sometimes we are so deeply conditioned to just hustle and grind and work harder through it. If it's not working, just try harder. Well, actually, it really shouldn't be so hard. And that is the core foundation of the Boss Less Babe More philosophy. We want you to be able to do your business in a way that's sustainable, aligned, and also creating really beautiful results for you.
Yeah. So this marks episode 50, and there's just something really serendipitous, and maybe serendipitous is not the right word, but it just feels like we wrap it up with a bow in a way that it's like, okay, I see it, we'll let it go. And we've put a lot of really cool things out in those 50 episodes. Like, I'm proud of the content and the silliness and the like messaging that we have provided. But in terms of moving forward, my intention is that obviously the podcast will go away, but if you ever want to work with either of us, we exist in our own little Paper Reka and Akashira universes. And while I think once we stop paying for Podbean, the episodes will not be viable anywhere. So you guys have like 2 days. 2 days to listen to all of this before it goes away. But come work with us, come hang with us. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find Grace online at Akashera. But we are just going to continue doing what we are doing with our own individual businesses, and you'll be able to find us and chat with us and work with us, and hopefully boss less and pay more as you guys continue your journey.
So I have left social media. I am off the grid, guys. So that's another big change that's happening in my reality. Another thing that's deselecting. Good stuff. But you can find me at akashira.com. You're welcome to reach out, book a free consult, or send me an email. I'd love to connect with you.
Okay.
Oh no, is this the end?
This is the end, so don't forget.
Yeah. To boss less?
And babe more, forever and ever.
Okay, we love you.
We love
Bye,
you
babes.
guys. Thank you for being a part of this with us.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, signing off.
Ciao, ciao.